Greetings, friends. My name is Volodymyr, and now we'll unveil the top news of recent days. The Ukrainian Defence Forces continue their offensive operations in the Azov Sea region, while at the same time restraining the enemy's onslaught in the east. Synchronized with the Hamas attack on Israel, Russia stepped up its offensive in a number of areas. The most difficult battles continue on the Avdiivka sector of the front line. The enemy tried to advance in several columns with troops under the cover of artillery and missiles and aircraft. But Russian Blitzkrieg failed again. At the cost of losses, the Russians only partially improved their positions. Moscow is feverishly trying to succeed in Ukraine, while the world's attention is focused on Israel. As a result, the enemy suffers enormous losses in manpower and equipment, like it was during the assaults on Bakhmut and Vuhledar. The well-coordinated work of the defense forces of Ukraine yielded results. The attack was repulsed. Combat work on the deoccupation of Ukrainian territories continues.
Next Monday will mark the 600th day of our resistance to Russia's full-scale aggression against our people, against Ukraine. And today, no one can say for sure how many more days we will have to defend our independence and to defend our identity. But we can already say several things which are, I think, important. First, Putin will not achieve Ukraine. Second, Russia cannot afford a new arms race. And third, democracy can win this battle. And it is necessary not only for our country, but for every nation, for the whole world. Our time is not the time for the slavery of nations.
The armed forces of Ukraine are using approaches that directly correspond to complex contemporary battles of the newest era. Ukraine's defenders who conduct this counteroffensive without air support are compelled to be highly adaptive, flexible, and able to change their actions in real time. Russia has spent months building the world's most formidable layered defense in depth. Lines of interlocking trenches, bunkers, barbed wire, concrete anti-tank barriers, and vast minefields significantly slowed Ukraine's advance in the first months. As a result of negotiations with the President of Romania, Klaus Iohannis, the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, announced the opening of a new grain corridor through Moldova and Romania. The problem of maritime export of Ukrainian food was caused by Russian aggression against Ukraine.
Together, Ukraine and Romania are important donors to security, in particular food one. Ukraine and Romania both make a critical contribution to guaranteeing world food security, and the food and social stability of many other countries directly depends on the normal operation of the solidarity roads through which food is exported from Ukraine, the Danube ports, as well as the Odessa region seaports. Every Russian missile and every Shahid that hits Ukrainian ports also hits our joint contribution to global security. We must do everything possible to prevent Russia from turning any part of the Black Sea and the Danube region into a dead zone for normal shipping.
Moscow does not take into account the interests of traditional consumers of Ukrainian food, in particular the most vulnerable to hunger. It is impossible to rely on agreements with Moscow. During the operation of the grain deals, Russia artificially limited the capacity of the sea corridor. It was Russia that abandoned its commitments under the grain initiative and resumed attacks on Ukrainian ports and granaries. Despite Russian aggression, Ukraine is actively engaged in finding new solutions to preserve exports and prices acceptable to consumers. Kyiv is motivated not only to be prospect of profits, but also by humanitarian considerations of overcoming world hunger. Ukraine has established fruitful cooperation with Romania, through which almost 60% of the total Ukrainian grain export is already transported. Also, we cooperate with other partners, Moldova, Bulgaria, and Greece. The development of a new sea corridor will require the involvement of the forces of coastal countries such as Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey to control coastal waters because, due to Russia's attempt to interfere with navigation, there is a mine threat. Russia is actively promoting the statement that Western countries are unable to effectively help both Ukraine and Israel, and therefore will sacrifice the former for the sake of the latter. The dilemma of either Ukraine or Israel is false because these are two closely related conflicts. In fact, we are talking about two fronts of one war against democracy. The global axis of evil has already been formed, and it will continue to fuel wars in different regions of the world.
Sometimes we are thinking how to prevail or how to stop the war, how to manage something, dialogue with Iran or Russia and etc. Sometimes we are thinking, I think we have to think oppositely. We have not to give possibility for aggressors even to think about the third world war, the new wave of aggression, the new big tragedy. That means if there is a big political support of the people, this means unity. That's why I recommend to go there. Of course, if Israeli side will be ready.
Without solving the root cause problem, it is useless to deal with the consequences. The comfortable times of relative peace and development for the West are over. It is necessary to realize the scale and think in terms of the global threat. A new level and speed of interaction, decision-making, responsibility and readiness for costs are needed. It is necessary to act immediately while it is still possible to stop the global offensive of dictatorship. Terrorists like Putin or Hamas seek to hold free and democratic nations as hostages, and they want power over those who seek freedom. The terrorists will not change. They just must lose, and that means we must win. It requires patience. It requires steady and continuous support. That concludes our today's video. Thank you for watching. Stay updated. Subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine. Your support is that really matters. Goodbye.